connections. Over the course of time, we have not only witnessed the evolution of the human being, but also the essence and the scope of the word social has too witnessed a change of its own. Earlier, the word social was related to the physical interaction, but nowadays it is attributed to the numerous social platforms and the lives we live on them. If I ask you all that what is the most feasible, the most convenient, and eminent way to socialize, then I am pretty sure that the majority of answers will be that of a social media platform. And these 5 months of pandemic proves the evidently of the very statement. If we take 10 years down the trip round, we would see a very less number of people who were there on the social media because either they didn't have access to it or they were hesitant to use it. But today, with the inevitable inclusion of technology and this digital world in our every aspect of our life, most of the people have access to the phones, which further land them to one or the other social media platform. So, the digital identity of a person has superseded the physical interaction to a huge extent. And it wouldn't be wrong if I make the statement that yes, the identity of a person is now recognized through his or her social media platform. People perceive others as how they portray themselves onto the social media because that's how pivotal it has become in our life. If we talk about applications like, say, Instagram or Facebook, the very first thing that determines your worth in the eyes of the people is your friends and your follower count. Then they would move on to determine how your lifestyle is by scrolling the places you have been and with the people you hung out with. And this based your personality on these aspects. Let us take some other instance. If I wish to secure in my internship or job in any firm, then even before taking an interview, they might look at my LinkedIn profile. And my very first impression will definitely be based on my profile, which is of paramount importance in the process of shortlisting the candidate. So, in this realm of technology, our identity creation and recognition are absolutely based on our social media presence. Amanda Lamanov, a famous psychotherapist based in California, stated that it was found that the way we engage with others on the social media is the reflection of our personality. This means that you will use social media in a way that is congruent with the traits you already possess. What you do is in what you reflect. We disclose information on social media right from our daily activities, significant relationships, accomplishments, intellectual pursuits, diet, exercise, to what we feel about people, things, and circumstances. So we can infer that every time we post, we reveal an aspect about our individual human identity. Since the inception of the social media, a prodigious amount of status updates, tweets, and comments have been posted online. The language that is used by the people to express themselves can provide clues about what kind of people they are, their pattern of behavior, and their general personality traits. If this very recognition of identity was ambiguous and false, then the quick evolving concept of online dating and friendship with the people across the globe would just be a sham. But it's just opposite that we today. Thus, our human identity can definitely, absolutely, and solely be recognized through a social media, as it is a comprehensive of your ideologies and lifestyles out in the open for the people to decipher through their screens. Thank you.
Thank you, 7A. 6B, I would request you to switch on your mic.
Am I visible and audible?
Yes, you are. Just hold on for a minute. Judges, can we begin with 6B?
Yes, sure. Go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Ashwati, give the time.
Kindly start. Yes, kindly start.
My identity is a palace that I have made from the bricks of my heat, sweat, and blood. And you say that you will recognize it only through the twigs of your like, comments, and tweets. Feeble beliefs have to be replaced with healthier habits, and irrelevant assumptions have to be replaced with relevant realities. Our identities would reach to the zenith of their development not only under the twilight of social platform alone, but under the broad daylight of the physical world and the bond that we share in our life. What matters to me is the same thing that matters to the opposition. I shall be a hypocrite today if I deny to acknowledge the contribution of the social media in to the mankind. But the word only in the motion of debate pushes me to the other side of the table and address the important issues. Lord Krishna said in the battle of Mahabharata to Arjuna that, "O Parth, the salvation that you look around the world is there inside your heart. Your identity is carried inside your own personality. And therefore, when my worthy opponents stand here with total audacity to boast an idea that the human identity is now recognized through social platform, therefore, I feel that there is a bizarre in form of a debate. Ladies and gentlemen, good morning, respected educators and all my fellow debaters. I stand here to speak against the motion of the controversial motion of the House today. An honorable chairperson, I call the motion of the House controversial because it has been nefariously used by my worthy opponents to mislead and bamboozle the House today. In the greed to win this argument, they have failed to address and acknowledge the vehement fact that there is a difference between a human identity and a social identity. There is a difference between recognition and popularity. There is a difference between the practical utility of a physical world and a social platform. And therefore, I feel that to set a correct benchmark for this debate, it becomes mandatory for us to set right definitions of three important terms related to our debate: human identity, recognition, and social platform. To begin with, human identity is something that is true, intrinsic, and unique for a person. It is just like my fingerprint that has holds a uniqueness compared to other people. My human identity is something that I have acquired through the period of time and not through the like, comments, and shares, and therefore it becomes my sovereignty. But today, ladies and gentlemen, when my capable worthy opponents hereby advocate the idea of recognizing through other people, therefore they advocate the idea to let my sovereignty in the hands of other people. And I feel, ladies and gentlemen, that they are advocating identity crisis rather than recognition. To begin with, according to a survey conducted by Stanford University, it was found that 67% of teenagers between the age 15 to 30 try to present themselves on social media, which they are not in reality. They try to be something better version of themselves. That means every 2 out of 3 people in the social media and social platforms are not their original form. As said by my worthy opponent, that there is now the dating apps that are available that help the people to interact. I must quote a very intrusive example in this regard, that there is a dating app known as Tinder, and according to survey, it was found that 73% of people are using with fake accounts or the fake information. And therefore, if even if you are advocating the idea of recognition, what is the use of having the fake identity? Honorable Chairperson, what is the use of having a BMW car in the city where there is no petrol pump? And that brings me to the second pillar of this argument, that is a recognition. Honorable Chairperson, we have to understand that recognition comes with a sanction, and whereby we speak the word recognition, we have to hold the accountability and the responsibility. And I must give a very simple and basic argument and logic. We all know that we are witnessing a corona conundrum, and we have some brilliant researchers working in the laboratories to find out the vaccine. So today, if a researcher makes a vaccine, who would be one who would recognize it? The medical authorities or the like, comments, and tweets on the social media? And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, this argument defeats every other argument of my worthy opponent that was made to deviate the logic and deviate the truth here today. Ladies and gentlemen, there are thousands of organizations, government and non-government, who are working on ground, who are working to find out talents, to find out identities that could benefit this modern world. And giving this only tag to this recognition to the social platform would diminish their sanctity and diminish the hard work and the service they are rendering to this nation and this modern world. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm talking about the third pillar of this debate today, that is the social platform. To begin with, social platform is just a virtual world that has little
You
authenticity
have 2 minutes
and more
left.
ambiguity. Thank you. Little ambiguity and no authenticity. There are rights but no duties. There are powers but no responsibility. And in that conundrum of despair, the social platform remains a very imbalanced place to give an identity to a person. Ladies and gentlemen, now in next 2 minutes, I shall present 12 concretive points that how and why the recognition could not be done through the social media. To begin with, social platform, we have to understand that social platform is made from the society, and in society there are diverse opinions. So what might be a correct identity for me might not be for you, and that brings to the point of character assassination. If a villager is being presented, he's being mocked, and mocking is not recognizing identity but diminishing his confidence and self-respect. Second point goes that media has its own interest. The breakfast of Amitabh Bachchan in the coronavirus situation becomes more important than suicide of the farmers. The birth of Taimur Ali Khan becomes more important than the suicide of the malnourished children. And therefore, we start bringing a blind eye. We don't care about the floods in Assam or Bihar. What we care is that can fetch us more popularity. The third argument says that media itself has blocks, and therefore the community identity imparts itself on the individual identity. The media is divided into blocks. So no matter what good I do, if I belong to a certain set of ideology, I'll be appreciated by a certain set of people, and irrespectively, I would be criticized by a set of people. Ladies and gentlemen, who can forget when the students of Jamia University were beaten inside the university, when the people of the Kashmir are still succumb to no internet situation? There is a huge set of society that has turned a blind eye, and that brings us to an important conclusion. And ladies and gentlemen, social media also has its trend, but my human identity is not a subject to a trend. It is a perennial river flowing, and therefore we have to understand that these sort of social platforms are being influenced by Western culture, and they are trying to diminish and bring us off from our own Indian cultural ethos. Even the gods are not being spared, even
Time's
the
up.
prophets are not being spared. So what can we imagine for the person? Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, 6B. For the judges, we will just have one more slot, and then